Welcome to Pax Europiana here from the NATO campaign for Austria. It's a very highly symbolic place I'm here. This is the so-called Nibelungenbrücke, the bridge I want to call in the future Free Ukraine Bridge. This is of course my request, and here this is my campaign for NATO membership. This is where a table where in 1945 the Germans from the Czech Republic escaped to safety, because this part of Austria, of Upper Austria, this is the region here, it was of course American liberated, and the Americans kept this part as well safe. I call as well for one of these museums. I think this building would be the best. It is part of Hitler's Linz. This was basically the military parade street. Let's not forget, he wanted to have a mausoleum up there on that hill, and this should have been his cultural capital, Germania. And there is no better way to overcome the horrors of the past than transforming this in an American NATO museum after the General Patton, who liberated Linz and Upper Austria and whole of Austria. He would have liberated if Roosevelt let him do that. He was already in Pilsen in the Czech Republic up there in the north to liberate that beautiful part, but it was not to be. The appeasement faction let Stalin have the Czechoslovakia and Eastern Austria, and so we had then to accept neutrality. This is the situation. So neutrality was good in 1955 to get rid of the Soviets, but of course it's very wrong today, and we need to join NATO. This is very important. Here from this highly symbolic place, I can just call that the way to overcome the totalitarian history of Austria from the Nazi times to the neighborhood with the Soviets, where we had to be very careful, because as Mr. Kreisky, our prime minister in the 70s until 83, said, we are only partial sovereign because we have, of course, the problem with the Soviets in the east, and they were so close. Until 1955, they were just over this border. This part of Austria, this region, Upper Austria, where I come from, was divided. It was divided by the Soviets and the Americans, liberated by the Americans, I say. Thanks a lot, General Patton. But also the Soviets, they have really done a lot of harm over there, and that was of course a big tragedy. Yes, I'm calling here for NATO membership, and there is not a single reason not to join NATO, which is somehow I couldn't understand. If anybody has an argument why we shouldn't join NATO, which is not anti-Americanism or pro-Putinism, then I would be very interested. And no, a European defense infrastructure and separate entity will not be, and that's simply impossible. It doesn't exist. And if that would exist, it would be also deeply problematic to have it. So I'm very much for the one defense organizations which we have, and that's of course NATO, and I call for Austria to be member of that one. Thanks a lot. More to come from Pax Europiana. Bye.